with JM, the founder of Studia, which was recently acquired. JM, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks so much for joining the podcast. But before we dive into the business and the acquisition story, you want to just tell listeners, I know just your background and a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Joan. I'm originally from Barcelona in Spain. My professional background starts around 12 years ago, directly doing my first internship during college in a startup. And I guess that's when the whole journey started of me being connected with entrepreneurship, being connected with startups, technology especially. After that, I moved during 5 years to international mobility. So I was helping students to go and do internships abroad, do volunteerings abroad. So this international aspect, which we'll be speaking later about the company I created, it's very connected. And after that, I was working during 4 years and a half in LinkedIn. I moved to Ireland. So I was working in sales in LinkedIn, which was a very powerful experience in terms of working in tech, knowing how to scale a business, knowing how to operate a business. So that was, a bit of the my background in that perspective before starting my pure entrepreneurship journey, which started a couple of years ago with another startup, which is not the one that we have sold recently, which is called Educately. Still running it. I'm still the chief revenue officer of the company. We raised over $2 million, and that one I was still scaling it, a team of 50, going very well. And meanwhile, I launched together with one of my old friends from school and from university, in which we studied together in the US, in San Francisco, in USF. We started this small project which was acquired, and we'll speak about that. But yeah, that's a bit about me.
Nice. That's a great background. Now I'm wondering, what would you say your biggest strength and biggest weaknesses as an entrepreneur?
I'm a sales guy. I've been 12 years doing sales. So my strength is in sales and also in creating and developing stuff. I consider myself a creator, and I'm always creating new stuff. I think it kind of reflected a lot in this journey of the startup that got acquired. And I'm in constant look for creating new stuff, developing new stuff, new ideas. So definitely that's my strength, and putting the structure and the organization for scaling. My weaknesses maybe sometimes is that I'm all over the place. I'm doing too many things at a time, which at the moment it's okay because I'm living in Dubai. I've been here for the last couple of years, and I'm not surrounded by my friends. I'm not surrounded by my family. So kind of my 24 hours are focusing work. I work from home. So it's like very focusing and doing business, creating business, running my business. So, it's like right now it's a good moment for that.
Nice. I can relate to that. Except the part about being in Dubai. I've never been there. I need to visit.
But it's a fun experience.
I'm going to throw a hard question at you. What's the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome? What's like the biggest mistake you made on an entrepreneurial journey?
That's a tough one. I made many mistakes. And, like this last 2-3 years and this journey, especially with my other startup, which, we raised a pre-seed round and a seed round. We pivoted our business model more than 4 or 5 times. And we had to take, strong decisions for that pivoting. And most of I'm the chief revenue officer, right? So I'm in charge of, developing the business model to scale all from the marketing, sales, absolutely everything. And I made a lot of mistakes on how to do it. Like now in the last year, we've reached a quite scalable business, but making those decisions and having to lay off a lot of people also because of my mistakes were something that is I don't want to repeat anymore in my life, which was also due to the fact of raising capital, right? Like raising over $2 million have a lot of implications also. And maybe in the future, if I create more startups, which I will, I would rather go to the bootstrapping and doing it myself rather than raising money and having that strong metrics to be met constantly, and that big backpack in your shoulder you need to drive this journey. So yeah, a lot of difficult decisions, but that business modeling until we found what's the concrete one and the correct one that worked for us was a big struggle, to be honest. Yeah.
Nice. I can definitely resonate with the bootstrap or venture because I've done both. They both come with pros and cons, but when you bootstrap, you keep all of your options open. You can grow at whatever pace you want. You can sell the business whenever you want.
Absolutely.
And even better, when you sell the business, you keep all the proceeds.
Absolutely.
So now I want to hear about Studia. So what made you decide to build that product? What problem was it solving? Do you want to just give an overview of that business?
Let me share you the story because it's I think it's a nice story, and together with my partner, right? Like we are true 50-50 in this business, literally. So first of all, about the business, what we created is basically an agency. It's nothing extremely disruptive. It's an agency for helping students mainly from Africa to pursue their higher education in the US, completely financed. So we were basically tackling and helping students that are brilliant and very talented, but didn't have the monetary resources to actually go and study abroad. So what we did is partner with a lot of universities in the US and Canada, and partnering with a couple of financial institutions that were going to help through student loans for these students from Africa and some countries in Asia to pursue their master's degree, specifically in STEM, and basically changing the life of these students, right? Like we're sending students from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Pakistan, for example, to the US, to a master's in cybersecurity, to a master's in data science, and like the jump in their lifestyle that they're getting after that is massive, from a salary maybe that they were getting in Kenya or Nigeria of $300 per month to the salaries that you can get being a graduate in data science in the US. So the stories are brilliant in that aspect, and it's very rewarding what we build. But at the end, it's a very time-consuming business, and that's the journey that we face, right? Like from the beginning, being super time-consuming, and then little by little, what we did with my partner is kind of try to automatize the process as much as possible in order to scale it as much as possible. So my partner comes more from a financial background. I come more from an education sales background. So basically, he was working in an insurance company for the last 5-6 years, and I always knew that he was, not liking his job anymore. He wanted a change. He was wearing basically a suit and a tie every day, like being there from 8 a.m. in the morning until 8 p.m. He wanted to, quit that and do something else, but he was telling me that for a while. And one day I go to him, it's like, look, I have this idea. Why don't we create this? It's our own. We do what we want to do with it. We want to scale it. We scale it. We want to do it a side hustle. We do a side hustle. It's like, okay, my idea back then is, let's do it a side hustle. You continue your job. I continue my job, and that's it. And we invest a couple of hours in the afternoon. That was a Friday. On Monday, he calls me. He's like, JM, I quit my job. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You quit your job. It's just an idea now, man. There's nothing. It's like, I cannot quit my job, man. I'm the founder of another company. He's like, yeah, don't worry. Like, I'm all in this. He was done with his previous job, and that put a lot of responsibility in my shoulders also for this needs to happen now, which was perfect and fantastic because he went all in. He was at the beginning doing 20, 30 calls with students. It blew up very fast. That's a bit of how it
So I got a question I'm dying to ask you. When did you realize you hit product market fit? Like, when did you get that moment where you're like, I'm onto something here?
I'm going to tell you because it was, we almost die of success in that initial couple or 3 weeks. It was insane. So we kind of wanted to run and create this very lean, basically bought a domain in GoDaddy for $10. We got Gmail account for $5.
Gotta get the domain, man.
Yeah, super lean. And then I just invested $1 a day in Facebook ads for 2 markets. So one for Kenya, one for Nigeria. That's all I invested. And with that investment, like our calendars, because we created everything through HubSpot with the website, with automation, the booking in the calendar directly for us. And we woke up one morning and the whole next week, was completely full of meetings booked by students with maybe like my partner was having 20 meetings per day, one after the other. He's like, JM, we need to do something with this. I'm going to die. I cannot do 20 meetings per day, plus the follow-ups, plus helping them, plus everything. So then we cut ads, we sit down again saying, okay, this is not sustainable. And we started building that automation in which we were qualifying the students throughout the journey and not us qualifying them directly with a call. And then only very qualified students spoke to Christian, to my partner, for running the other process. So that was pretty fast product market fit, to be honest. Yeah.
Nice. I love how you validated the business though. You ran a Facebook campaign, and it sounds like you got a lot of leads, but some of them are unqualified, and so you built a process. You're only talking to qualified leads.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough because I know this industry pretty well, so I was not starting from scratch. I knew who I had to stick with for the partners, for this, for that. So I was not, coming from zero. This agency business for international students is been there forever. It's been there for the last 20 years. But we brought that aspect of the financing, that aspect of a bit more techie, a bit more automation, a bit more self-serve for the students, which is something that the industry is not having. Still, it's nothing disruptive, don't get me wrong, but that automation part really helped us for just being the two of us, actually 1.5, because I was counting half in that process. And we could have just continued scaling it up. We're just hiring 5-10 people in specific markets could very fast, become $1 million revenue business.
I really like how you had the Facebook campaign, but you realized it wasn't financially sustainable, and then you quickly shut it down. A lot of entrepreneurs don't do that. They see the leads coming in, and you can waste a lot of time. And I've done this before personally, where you're getting a lot of leads and you think that's good, but what you're actually doing is, number one, you're paying for the leads, and then two, you're reaching out to leads that aren't qualified. So that's time. So that also is a cost. So that's awesome. You were able to quickly adjust the go-to-market to really make it work.
And that was very fast. It was nothing like we posted for 3-4 days and then we reactivated because we sat down, we got into a meeting of hours and hours. Okay, we need to do something like automations. What were the main reasons students are not qualified? Because they don't have a 3 GPA to qualify for that. They don't have enough English language to pursue their masters. They don't have at least $2,000 to pay their flight tickets and basic visa and stuff. So it was pretty simple to automatically qualify for those specific blocks and just get the students that met all those criteria for doing the process, right? Because if you're going to do a discovery call with a student and then there's no English or there's no GPA enough or this kind of stuff, just losing your time. So it's just kind of optimizing our time a bit more. That's it.
Nice. Yeah, automation is crucial, especially when you're going to take the business and find a buyer and successfully get acquired.
And it's pretty interesting in the aspect of the story of the buyer. We will speak later about that because they are an AI company. So I'm very curious, and we're seeing how they're plugging in AI into this model. I'm fascinated about what they can do about it.
That's awesome. So you'll get to watch that growth.
Yeah. Actually, my partner is hired by them for 3 months for the transition and stuff, and I'll be there as an advisor for the next 6 months or 1 year or so. So we're still involved.
That's awesome. You kind of get a front row seat at AI being implemented into something you built.
And it's something we spoke about with my co-founder, but we have no idea how to even start with it. So having someone that knows could be fantastic, to be honest.
That's a really interesting, I'm getting a thought right now of acquisition opportunities where great products, like you're a strong product market fit, happy paying customers, but is there an opportunity to automate certain processes or make things more efficient with AI? Maybe, I don't know the answer to that yet because it's so new, but
it's what you say, more traditional companies, right? It doesn't need to be nothing more traditional companies that requires a lot of human interaction like this one. It can be definitely automatized, and we're seeing that. So it's nice. I'm curious.
Let's move on to the good part. I want to talk about the acquisition story. The most, obviously, I'm biased. But how did you find Acquire.com, and what made you decide to sell the business?
You know what it was? It was an Instagram ad. That's how I found out about Acquire.com. Never heard about Acquire.com before. never even knew there was a platform in which you could list your startup and people would buy. I studied entrepreneurship and innovation in my bachelor's degree, but you always come, and even like having 2 years of experience creating and raising funds and everything, I always ask to myself, how do you sell a business? How do you exit a business? And is it like you need to go to your biggest competitor and get acquired only from that one? So it was very uncertain for me. So kind of you were the ones that were educating me in that process, and that was mind blowing, right? So I entered the website, super easy to sign up, create. So like I immediately called my partner, told him, hey, there's this thing. I know we didn't even consider about selling, but why don't we list ourselves in the platform and see what happens? So we create our profile. That was 10 minutes with the basic stuff. And we left it there. We left it there for a month. We were getting NDAs, people interested, some questions here or there, but it was actually 1 month until we got the letter of intent, which was a big surprise. It surprised and like a shot of adrenaline, incredible in this is real. Christian, this is real. We're in the phone, like, how do we do this? What's going to happen? Like, no idea. So it was
That's awesome.
Journey.
I was in your same shoes. I had a previous startup, and I tell this often, but a big part of the reason I started Acquire.com was because when I sold my first business, I had all these friends that called me, like, what is due diligence? Like, what is legal? How did you find the buyer? What is private equity? And I just thought to myself, I was like, man, there's all these books on everything but how to sell your company, marketing, sales, fundraising.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of them right here. But maybe there's like three books out there on exits, maybe more, but
and it's something that, in my perspective, every entrepreneur wants to live in their life, right? Like it's kind of the goal for, in a bigger scale or a larger scale, hopefully a larger scale, of course. But for me, was living that experience of, even like, it was not a money thing for me. It was more of, shit, this is like, I built something which someone is buying it and is going to scale it. And it was that feeling as an entrepreneur, more than the money and more than any other stuff.
It's an accomplishment, man. Congrats. So I want to dive into that more. So how did you prepare for the acquisition? It sounds like you just listed it. You didn't have any supporting documents or anything, like any sort of prep going into the acquisition?
No, until the letter of intent. Once the letter of intent was, it got serious. Basically got serious. I built the data room, which I had experience before from my fundraising experience of the seed round and pre-seed. I was like, maybe if I go with the data room, like in an Excel, like very specific into the metrics, this is what we do, this is the cost, this is the projections, it gives more confidence to the buyer. And it did. So that was my main kind of sales deck, pitch deck for selling it. Yeah.
Well done, Jay. I can't even tell you like how many founders I see listing on Acquire.com and not having just some supporting documents. And that could be just an overview of the business. It can be frequently asked questions, just any sort of additional information you can give buyers, because buyers are looking at so many different businesses. And so building out a whole data room, even from a high level, how does marketing work? How does support work? How does product work? It doesn't have to be anything proprietary. Just like, this is how we acquire customers. This is how there's so many support tickets we get, common questions. This is how we handle them. So great job on that. So now I'm kind of wondering, okay, so you went live on Acquire.com. How many NDAs did you get, if I can ask, before you got the LOI?
I believe hundreds. I believe in, I don't know, like 80 to 100 maybe, a lot.
Really? Damn.
Yes. There was a lot of interest just with the NDAs to get a bit more information. 5-6 questions, which after I answered, never got a second reply. One informal conversation from a Canadian guy who connected me through LinkedIn directly. And then this one, that was the first real conversation I had. I think I was quite lucky in that aspect that the first person I seriously spoke with, like we ended up the acquisition, like going through amazing entrepreneur, amazing background, very young, very ambitious. Like we connected very, very well since the beginning. So it's everything about the relationship at the end. It's a sales process and you need to connect with that person at personal level, even for building that trust.
Yeah, you're really hitting on some good points. Like when you do go and sell your business, you're selling your business. Like you have to sell your business. You have to point out the good parts, also the bad parts too, because some buyers will look at that as growth opportunities. It sounds like not having an AI component was a growth opportunity. But tell me a little bit more about the buyer. How did you land on him or her being the right person to move forward with?
So let me shout out to him. He's amazing. His name is David. He is from the US. He's been living all his life there. And, like at the beginning, like when he sent the letter of intent, it's like he's the CEO of an AI company. Why would an AI company be interested in us? Right. So in my mind was like, I have no idea how this fits, because what they do is it's AI for education, for writing college essays, all this kind of stuff. So after we had that conversation with him and stuff, like it made a lot of sense for them, both for implementing the AI in our process, but for utilizing all of their user base in another revenue pool, right? They are making revenue of the students throughout their college experience, but once they're done with their bachelor's, they lose that subscription money from the students. So after that, monetizing one more of those students by helping them to find the studies abroad was perfect, because their user base are not based in the US, they're based in Asia, in the Philippines, in Singapore, in Malaysia. So helping those students to go and study in the US after they graduate from their bachelor. So it was fantastic how that happened. And he appointed a CEO to run that vertical of the business. Amazing guy, Canadian, doing fantastic. So it was a bit of the beginning. We had a lot of conversations during that process. The acquisition process lasted 40 days. It was longer, the acquisition process, than actually the listing process itself.
Yeah, that's the part that, isn't the funnest, but, you get that LOI, but I always tell
it's not done. It's not done. Just starting.
No, you still have to keep selling. You still have to keep, the faster you respond to a buyer, the more confidence you give them, the more, one piece of advice I always give founders is make the data room and point out all the good stuff in your business, because in due diligence, if a buyer finds something that they just don't like or something like that, you've just shared a bunch of other items that might kind of cancel that out. But so tell me about the due diligence process, how you transferred assets, escrow. How did that whole acquisition process?
That during those 40 days, 1 month, 40 days, we faced a lot of ups and downs. At the middle of it, I thought this was not going through. Then next week, yes. Then another week, no. I guess like now seeing it in retrospective, it was kind of the normal process. But once you're inside, you're freaking out about everything that's going on. At one point, we thought that we have shared too many things in the data room and that they could just build it by themselves and that's it, which was of course not like this, and they're fantastic in that perspective. So the escrow and the transfer of assets and everything was pretty straightforward, because at the end everything is done digitally, everything is through HubSpot, everything is automated through their so that part was pretty easy. Then the new CEO came into place and he's running the stuff at this moment. I'm acting as an advisor. What I did also as part of the agreement was to contact all our providers, because at the end we're not B2C, but we're B2B. We get the money from the universities and we get the money from the financial partners. So the average deal size more or less is around $4,000 to $5,000 per student that we actually place abroad. That's paid by the universities and by the financial partners. So we had to sign new agreements with the new, the new company. So I facilitated that process also throughout the first couple of weeks of acquisition. And then my partner is still actually working there. As part of the agreement, we signed that he was going to stay in Studia for 3 months, just running things, teaching the new CEO how to do everything, basically not to fall on the rocks that we fall, which were a lot. So I think that knowledge is one of the most important stuff why they acquired us.
Tip there too, and just kind of some perspective as a buyer, really what you're always trying to do is de-risk the acquisition. Mm-hmm. And a big part of it is after you close, there's always kind of something that comes up. You got a customer on a weird coupon plan, you got some bug or that you don't know how to fix. So just having like you and your other founder just available for simple questions like that can make all the difference in terms of, because again, when you go to sell a startup and get acquired, you want to make the buyer feel as comfortable as possible, have them understand the business as much as possible. But then also there's a huge element of trust in terms of, there's a quote, you can't do a good deal with a bad person. And so just having that small period of time for handover really de-risk acquisition for the buyer so they don't get it and then break something, they don't have anyone to go to. So we see that almost in all of our acquisitions is some sort of transition period with the original founder.
And it's something that we even propose it because we didn't want it to hand over something.
It's a selling point,
absolutely. And it was also for us, like we invested 6 months of our life building this baby, and we didn't want it to see it die because of some mistakes that were done that maybe we could have the answers very easily, right? So it's like, why don't we just help you transition you best way possible and make it happen? It's also for us, let's say.
That's awesome. I'm glad it all worked out. Well, I got to ask this. So, from start to finish on Acquire.com, what was your favorite part? What was maybe a light bulb moment or maybe like a holy shit moment? Or
the holy shit was the letter of intent. That was the big holy shit. I remember I was in Abu Dhabi in a conference back then, and my partner is in Barcelona. So we actually created a whole startup in remote. So I immediately called him like, shit, remember Acquire.com? We listed 1 month ago. We got an offer. What do you mean we got an offer? So that was a big holy shit moment. Everything got real all of a sudden. Before it was, let's see, we were not even getting acquired. That's going to be impossible. We're planning, okay, when are we going to hire a first employee? When are we going to do this, that? Then from that moment, everything changed. So that was the whoa moment for us.
Usually how it goes. Once formal offers start coming in, that's when, you're taking the step towards actually getting acquired. So,
and then in this process, I learned more than if I would have done an MBA. That's, such valuable lessons and such valuable things that I learned throughout the journey. Of course, from starting the company, but this from listing the company, speaking to people that are interested in this and going through the whole process. Like, I didn't know what an escrow was. I had no idea. I had to figure out all this stuff and building a proper data room, speaking to buyers. It was literally studying an MBA in 1 month. It was fantastic.
Did you ever reach out to our support team or M&A advisory team?
I did not, and I regret it now, to be honest.
Yeah. So for people listening, if you're, selling on Acquire.com, you can reach out to our team and we'll review your listing. We do LOI reviews. We do a number of different things to just help you along that journey because as an entrepreneur, it's everyone's first time. There's a few that have sold, I think the record on Acquire.com is 10 startups sold, all in the small.
Wow. I saw one podcast of 3 from a British guy. It was pretty incredible also.
Yeah, sometimes I get on these podcasts and we're going to talk about one startup. And then before we start recording, they're like, oh, I've sold these 4 other ones. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
And maybe you'll need to invite me in a year from now and we will do another one because I'm planning. So.
Well, when you do, we'll help you out as a team so you get multiple offers.
Yeah, because I figured out that part after. Once the acquisition was done, then I started to even browsing looking for startups and stuff. I just out of curiosity was there's so much things I could have done. And I was just in my path thinking that I had to figure out all the steps. But Acquire.com, it's fantastic. Not only from the listing and the marketplace connecting you with buyers, which is an amazing amount of buyers that, over 80 NDAs I got in a time period of 30 days. But all the knowledge that's there, I think it's unbelievable. It's literally you're building a business pool for acquisitions. It's incredible.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I wish I had it. It was a little harder for me. But what was I going to say? When you're ready for that next business, let us know, and we'll definitely help you. And
yeah, after this, like I've been reached out by a lot of my old friends and like old colleagues that are having ideas, pitching me ideas, and wanting to start things with me. And I'm all over the place, and I'm loving it. I'm already starting different businesses in different industries, from music to again in education and other parts. So definitely we're gonna see each other again at one point, I think.
yeah, I think the best thing you did too was, finding a buyer that you really get along with.
Yeah.
I always recommend that on the first buyer call, just get to know the person, just get on the same page, just see if you two can work together, because you said due diligence was 40 days. You can't do due diligence successfully with someone that you just don't get along with. Yeah, I've never seen it work. Goodwill is like such an important factor with acquisition. So I'm glad it worked out.
It was one of the pillars. It was that trust pillar was for both of us extremely important. And he said it at the end, like we had another call, like, man, I just trust you since the beginning. And like it was fantastic that we were able to build this. Now I believe it was also from my transparency and genuinity and telling him what are we doing well, what are we not doing well, and just presenting the business overall in a very humble and transparent way. I think we connected very well along at the beginning.
Yeah, there was a quick story, and then I want to know what you're doing now that you've sold this business. But I was helping another founder with an acquisition. He had two really strong offers. He actually had multiple offers, but we narrowed it down to two with him. One was priced about 20% higher or so. I think it was at, let's call it like 2.5 million for the first offer, and then 2.2 for the other offer. And I strongly encouraged the founder to go with the lower offer, because I could just see the relationship between the two parties, and it just felt like a perfect fit. The buyer had experience in that industry. They had great questions. They had proposed due diligence schedule. Because when you get an LOI, they're not all created equally. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you get an LOI, factor in, the probability of close as well, because you might go after that big extra 20%. Or maybe it was like a 10% difference in this case, but it might not close. You might go 40 days and then the person doesn't close capital, you're not getting along, something happens. So I always recommend also a pre-LOI call where you just kind of get on the same page and say, hey, I'm excited to, sign this with you. But before I do, kind of what's the plan? What are your expectations of me? How can I make this an amazing process? I just want to make sure that this closes, because I'm talking to another buyer. But it all worked out for you. So
it went for that one. Fantastic.
Yeah. So what do you do now? What are you building? What are you building next?
So I'm still in my big startup, right? This beginning of this year, we raised almost $1.5 million. So I'm the chief revenue officer here. But at this moment, I've kind of scaled it at the point that I'm very comfortable with. I have a strong management team running operations. So I'm not running that much operations myself. So I'm kind of having a lot of free time to do other stuff. And I'm enjoying that part because I love to create things. So I'm starting several things. One of the things that we have been doing in this last 6 months, more or less, is scaling up my family business, which is very cool and rewarding. Actually, my dad is a writer, and he's never had a big success, selling his books just in like the traditional way, just with editorials and this kind of stuff. So my sister is a strong marketeer. She's a head of marketing. She's fantastic. And I have that operations structure and scalable aspect. So it came down to him, and we built him stop selling with agencies, with editorials, stop going to traditional libraries. We set up a TikTok account for him, an Instagram account for him. That was my sister with her creative thinking. I created all the Shopify. I created his basically e-fulfillment, in which we printed the books, we send it to the warehouse, and it's everything automatized. Right now, my dad has 2 million followers in TikTok, 1 million followers in Instagram, and is completely organic, blowing up. Insane.
That's beautiful, man. That really is.
No, it's a story. It's fantastic. Like my dad has money now after a lot of years of his life. He's over 60 and he's a TikTok influencer selling hundreds of books per day. It's amazing. So that's something pretty cool.
That is so awesome that your father, needed help business wise and as a writer, because there's so many different skill sets that you need to successfully make a business. You need marketing, sales, like social media strategy, a story to tell. I love how you just, you're helping your father out to make him successful because of all the success you've had building startups. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, we connected, like my sister and I connected very fast. Like, because with my sister is also very entrepreneurial. It's like, we need the product. It's like, our dad is the product. Let's product him. Let's market him. He has all the books. He has all the stuff. He has the story. He's a great communicator, but he has never done that. He didn't know what TikTok was, right? So it was fantastic. Now he's very successful, very happy, and it pays off. It really pays off at that family personal level. But then, of course, I'm doing other stuff. Still nothing concrete, like just in the ideation stage. And once Christian, my co-founder of Studia, finished his 3 months tenure with the new buyer, we definitely gonna do more things because for him, it was his first entrepreneurial experience. He came from a very traditional insurance background, and seeing him, thrive in this aspect and the freedom that this brings also for him, right? Like he got more money with this acquisition than his annual salary last year, and now half of the year he can chill a bit, he can be with his family, with his friends, with his wife. So it's an experience.
You got to write a book about his book, because, a lot of, entrepreneurs, when they're successful, they'll help their parents out financially. But what you did is you helped him build a business and, helped him create his own revenue stream. And along the way, I'm sure you both grew closer and
100%.
It was
and he's making way more money than me now. Way more money than me.
This is inspiring to me. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, I'll send you his TikTok account later. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, JM, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Your story is amazing, and
thank you, Andrew.
Congrats on the acquisition and just everything you're doing. I'm rooting for you, man. So, if people want to get a hold of you and just learn more about your story or the current company that you're focused on, where can they find you?
So, I used to work at LinkedIn myself during 5 years. So the best place is definitely LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I answer faster. I answer faster in LinkedIn than on a WhatsApp message or anything else. So, you can find me there. It's a very long traditional Spanish name. My name is Joan Manuel Sanchez. So, if you look for Studia or Educate or my name, you'll definitely find me and we can have a chat. I'm always available for speaking with anyone.
We'll put it in the show notes. Well, JM, you're a legend. Appreciate you coming on and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Andrew. And congratulations also for you because you made it very easy for us to be successful. And that's something to be proud of.
Appreciate that. Don't thank me, thank my team. They built everything.
Absolutely.
Hey, great, man, all the way.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Cheers.